How long we got yet? It's 10 o'clock, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm looking at that.
We're not going by that clock, we're going by 10.
Where to?
Yeah, they can't afford a custodian to change the clock to get it right.
Set a clock back there.
Huh?
Set a clock back there.
Oh, yeah, I know it's 10 o'clock, I see the sun.
I don't know if you want to wait another minute for Carol or.
George will mark you tardy if you don't get going on time.
Yeah, okay.
Joe Rose is excused. He's not gonna be here today.
Kenny, did you try to get Kenny to use the phone?
He said he can't do that. He was gonna come if he could get a ride, which I advised against, but he still wants.
He's good with the phone, I knew he could have got in there if somebody showed him how to do it.
Well, I told him on the phone how to do it, but he said it's too complicated.
Are you calling him?
I called him yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday, but you're not calling him today to get him on.
No, I'm taking minutes and running the meeting.
All right, call meeting to order. Approval of the minutes.
I so move.
Who was that?
Jerry Richardson, I so move to approve the minutes.
There she is, there's the birthday girl.
You're
Looks pretty spry.
Did you get a second for those minutes approval?
Who's got
I'll,
that?
I'll second that motion. This is Doreen.
All right, motion been made by Jerry, seconded by Doreen to approve the minutes. Is there any additions, corrections, anything we need to? Should have them in front of you. If not, all in favor? All right.
Aye.
Hold the same. Public comment? Anybody? Anybody on the phone that would like a public comment? If none, number 5 is the training video.
I have a public comment. I would like to announce that today is Carol's birthday. And I would actually like.
Happy birthday.
I would like us to sing happy birthday to her.
Yeah, we'll escape for you other guys. We'll leave it here. It's an escape room.
There is some creamer, real creamer over there. So we're gonna, if everyone wants to unmute, if you want to unmute on your phone. I hope you don't. Sorry.
I don't know if you want
We're gonna go ahead and sing happy birthday. Here we go.
Happy birthday
Birthday to you.
Happy
birthday to you.
Happy
Happy birthday, dear Carol.
birthday.
To you.
Not the worst we've ever done.
All right, you're on number 5, WLWCA training video.
All right, so just like last time around, I wanted to use the first few minutes of every meeting to provide some sort of training for you. So today's video is about chapter 92. That's our soil and water conservation state chapter. And so that talks about what our roles and responsibilities are under chapter 92 for soil and water protection. So we're going to go ahead and watch that. It's about 8 or 9 minutes. And then if anyone has any questions, we can have a little discussion if necessary.
You're not signed up for video. I don't know. I don't care. You don't need it.
Hello, my name is Matt Kruger. I'm the Executive Director of Wisconsin Land and Water. This webinar is part of an informative series for new land conservation committee members, but also a refresher for committee members that continue to serve and hopefully beneficial for conservation staff as well. In today's webinar, I will address why Chapter 92 is important to you. Focusing
Yeah, we
on the-
can't see the video on the, I can't see the video on the Zoom.
including this presentation.
Because I'm sharing, Mark. Can other people see the video on their screen? Jerry, do you?
I
No, we-
can't see it. Doreen here.
No, no.
Jerry, no, we can't see it.
Okay.
I didn't get you set up
I mean, Amy, when you're looking at the screen on your computer, you're sharing the screen and you're sharing the YouTube portion? Because all we see is the agenda.
I think that's it.
Is that okay for you, Clark?
All we see is the agenda.
On my screen, this is Doreen, I have something called today's topics.
That's what you should see. It should say today's topic.
Okay.
On my screen, Pam's screen, it's today's topic also.
Okay, so Clark, I think you're the only one that has the agenda showing.
Yeah, I think probably the reason I'm seeing something different is because Amy is logged in as me and I'm logged in as me. So if you see on the screen there, it says 2 Clark Schroeders. I think that might be confusing for the issue. So
will be the
I
role,
think actually I'll just log out because I think it's going to be confusing for the computer to have 2 of me. So I'm just going to leave the meeting. So I'll catch up with you guys later. Thank you.
Take care, Clark.
LPD, and briefly, the roles and responsibilities of the Conservation Department staff, or LPD. Why Chapter 92 is important to you? Chapter 92 is our soil and water and animal waste management law. It was enacted by the Wisconsin State Legislature in 1981. It contains important information about the authorities, roles, and responsibilities statutorily provided to land conservation authorities or LPD. The foundation of LPD is every LPD member, newly elected or long serving, should know it thoroughly. The statute also contains important soil and water resource management information outside of the scope of LPD. In straightforward language, it declares soil erosion and resulting non-source water pollution in the state to be, quote, endangering the health and welfare of state citizens with recreational resources, agricultural productivity, and industrial base. It continues on to declare the policy of the state to, quote, halt and reverse the depletion of the state's soil resources, pollution of its waters. These are powerful declarations and provide strong backing for the shared work of LPD and LPD. The statute also establishes and defines authorities for the Land and Water Conservation Board, which is covered in another webinar on the Wisconsin Land and Water website. It defines the duties of the Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection, the DACF, and the Soil and Water Resource Management Program, the DACF administers. Also available in the webinar on the Wisconsin Land and Water website. Lastly, it is important to note that while Chapter 92 is the state statute for soil and water conservation and animal waste management,
Mary Jo, if I can interrupt, this is Doreen. The
specific-
sound is horrible. I'm not making out anything he's saying on the video.
Jerry, are you hearing it okay?
No, it's not coming through real well.
Hmm.
It's hard to hear what's being said.
It's garbled. I mean, I can make it out, but it's overmodulated.
Yeah, and it's got like breaks in it. And I know I'm a little hard of hearing, but this is kind of impossible.
That's okay. We'll go ahead and just stop it because we don't have any other option for
Okay.
playing it. And he's narrating. So there's not even other slides to show that would not have narration. So we'll just have to wait until we're back in person for this. Sorry about that online.
Is it something that we can log in later on our own and watch?
Yes, this is in the list
Okay.
of all of the Wisconsin Land and Water webinars that I passed
Uh-huh.
out at our last meeting.
Right.
And so it's called Chapter 92, and it's definitely something that I would recommend watching.
Okay.
And it is on the Ashland County website, the link for that.
Okay, thank you.
We're gonna try a second video that I had. And this video is about an Ashland graduate that is a advocate for conservation. And he does projects all around the world. His name is Rob Greenfield. And he did a project recently, a few years ago in New York City, trying to raise awareness about trash and recycling. This video it's a louder audio and it has more images in it. So even if you can't hear it very well, you should definitely be able to get the message. And we'll move on to that one.
I'm here in New York City, and I'm going to do a little experiment. For the next I'm here in New York City, and I'm going to do a little experiment. For the next 30 days, I'm going to wear every single piece of trash I create. I'm going to live just like the average American, create 4.5 pounds of trash per day. I'll eat, shop, and consume just like the average person does. I won't turn down any trash that's offered to me. Flyers and plastic bags, straws and cups. Why am I doing this? Because trash is out of sight, out of mind. Most of us throw it in the garbage can and we never think about it again. I want to know what would it look like to hold on to every single piece of trash I create for an entire month. And explain how I got it. And explain how I got it. My name is Rob Greenfield, and I'm an adventurer and an activist. Talk about trash. You know where your trash goes? Normally, I live in near zero waste life. But lately, people have been calling me the trash man, or the trash monster, the trash hoarder, or trash man. I've been living just like the average American for the last month in New York City. Eating, shopping, consuming, just like so many of us are used to. With one big exception, I've been wearing every single piece of trash that I create everywhere I go. Now I know what you might be thinking. What about the smell? Well, I clean everything before wearing it, and don't worry, toilet paper goes down the toilet as usual. Now to the big question. Why am I doing something crazy like this? The average person in America creates about 4.5 pounds of trash per day. That's 135 pounds a month. And most of us just toss it in the trash can and never think twice about it. And that's just one of us. I get it. Life is fast and we're all busy. So we keep shopping and consuming, creating more and more stuff we don't need. What's even crazier is that for every garbage can we put on the curb, 70 garbage cans worth of waste were made up the production line just to create that garbage in the first place. What we do actually see is just the tip of the trash iceberg. To make all this stuff, we cut down our forests, blow up our land, leak oil and pollutants into our oceans, release toxins into our air, and cause extinction of other species. Most of our waste ends up right in the landfill. Sadly, items that decompose in nature won't break down in the landfill, meaning they'll exist for thousands of years. You might be thinking that it would all be okay if we would just all recycle. True, recycling is a part of the solution, but sadly, it's a highly resource and energy intensive process. It's been hard enough just wearing my own trash for a month. Imagine how the planet feels serving as a trash heap for the entire human race. The good news is that all the trash that I'm wearing could have been avoided or kept from the landfill. All it takes is some simple changes in lifestyle, some planning ahead, and speaking up for what you believe. In Germany, people have even created zero waste supermarkets.
I'm gonna stop using plastic bottles and plastic bags. I'm gonna tell my mom to stop buying like that. I'm gonna stop using plastic straws.
Millions of people are waking up and realizing our personal responsibility, and that reducing our waste saves us money and allows us to live a happier, healthier, and more sustainable life.
So George, I don't know if you want to ask if there's any questions or discussion or anything.
This is Charlie. Can I ask a question, George?
Go ahead, anybody has a question, go ahead, ask Mary Jo.
Mary Jo, this is Charlie. I was wondering if you know where I could buy that suit.
Yeah, pretty impressive, huh? That guy's an Ashland High School graduate, and he does fascinating programs all around the world to raise awareness on many, many different topics. The most recent project he did was he could not eat any food that he did not grow or harvest for a full year. So he was living in Florida, and he basically had a garden, and he fished and raised food, and he did a full project, and he's actually writing a book about that experience now. And he came back here during the summer, and he This was one of my husband's previous students, so they keep in touch. And Brad tried to offer him some fish that we had caught, but Rob wouldn't take it because he had not harvested it himself. So we take him out fishing and, you know, tried to help him be successful in his project that he did. But he does all sorts of fascinating things. And so if you want to look him up, his name is Rob Greenfield, just like it sounds. And that project was called Trash Me. Good luck finding a suit, Charlie.
I'll have to make my own, clearly.
Any other questions or comments on that? If not, number 6 is the 2020 Wildlife Damage Program corn prices. That goes to Dave.
Yeah, we've got to set the price for Ashland County for the corn loss. And I arrived by contacting Synergy Co-op here in Ashland for a per bushel price in semi-load lots for corn replacement. Also contact Mixrite because both of them are the 2 largest suppliers of feed in the area. So Synergy come in at $4.09 a bushel, and Mixrite was at $3.99. So the average between the 2 of them is $4.04 a bushel. And this I propose to be the price. This was established in the middle to late October during harvest season when I'm supposed to be making these contacts to price this out. So I propose $4.04 as a medium price for bear loss in the cornfields for the Ashland County producer. And I need a committee to propose that or change it to a different price depending on the feeling of the committee members.
All right, it's on the, we need a motion. $4.40.
$4.04.
4 cents?
4, yes.
404. Anybody?
Come on, Pamela's pad, that's a good idea. I think Dave did the work already, so I think we should go and make a motion to accept the 404.
This is Charlie, I'll second.
Motion been made by Jerry, seconded by Charlie, to set the price for Ashland County at 404. Any other discussion? Comments, questions? If not, all in favor? All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Number 7, update on the 2020 DAP cost share project. Who wants that? Mike?
I certainly can. All the projects for 2020 have been completed and paid for, with the exception of one which Mary Jo is gonna apply for carryover into 2021. I believe that amount was what, 5,100, Mary Jo?
$5,333, and it's already been submitted.
Yeah, the deadline was the 31st of December. And like I said, all the projects have been paid for, and now we'll submit to DATCAP to reimburse Ashland County. But they prefer to just have one check coming back to the county. I've already submitted, what we do, 4 already, Mary Jo, and I believe I have 4 more to do. But the last 2 just came in late last week.
Do you want to just briefly mention what our cost share projects were this year, what the practice was?
It was all over the board. We had critical area, we had fencing, access road, animal trail, windbreak. I believe that, it was all over, as usual, we got projects, we hit all of the board on our projects.
And do you remember how many total projects? 8?
10, and number 11 will be done next year.
Excellent.
Do we use up all our money?
We did, and with the exception of the carryover into next year, the 5,300.
Fantastic.
And that one's, it's gonna go, he just got a late start on it, pretty big project, doing a lot of it on his own. So, but there's no doubt in my mind that he'll finish it.
What are we getting for next year? We getting 50 grand again?
That, I don't know, Mary Jo,
I think it's like 54,000 for next year. Yeah, it's over 50,000. So annually, we get money from the Department of Agriculture, Trade and Consumer Protection, DACCAP, to work with farmers and private landowners on soil erosion control and water quality projects. And the majority of all of our cost share dollars are typically spent on farmland. And so as Mike just told you, we had 11 projects that we were able to fund this year. 10 of those projects are completed and the landowners have been paid out. And most of them, we have already received our reimbursement. We're filing our last couple reimbursements to reimburse the county back this month. And there was one project that the farmer was not able to complete this year. He has already started it, but it's not completed, so we haven't been able to pay him. And so we are extending that project for 1 year into 2021. The total of that project was $5,333. And he'll be completing that in 2021, and then we'll pay him out and we'll be reimbursed for that next year. And then, like George just asked, our new funding will begin in 2021, and that's somewhere right around 54,000. And so we are actively working on taking project requests right now. Mike's been out in the field doing some site visits, and we'll be starting surveys this month and working on them throughout the winter and doing project design. Did anybody have any specific questions?
I do have a question for the Mary Jo. Is there any talk yet about us getting our second position paid for at 75%? Is that, I know he's been working on it pretty hard, but no, nothing yet. You probably talk about that next Tuesday.
The Wisconsin Land and Water Board last year, they proposed a series of bills to the legislature. One of the bills that was proposed was to fully fund the Land Conservation Department staff according to Chapter 92. Now, unfortunately, we were not able to watch all of Chapter 92 today, but that statute requires the state fund 3 positions for Land Conservation Department in every county. Right now, the state funding is only allocating for about 1.5 positions. And unfortunately, that bill did not go before the Assembly or the Senate. It passed at one level and it was supposed to be voted on March 26th. And that's when COVID hit. And so that bill did not make it all the way through the legislature, and it will not be brought up again this year, which means that the bill is dead. So in order for the departments to get full funding, someone will have to propose that, bring that bill up again in 2021, and bring it before the Senate and the Assembly. Now that bill did have quite a bit of bipartisan support, but I have no idea what will happen in the next term.
If you look at the news today, it said that our legislation hasn't met since March. And so Governor Everett is looking for $500 million to support schools, small communities, energy, and that, so I see the Republican, led Senate is offering him 100 million. So there's gonna be a lot of dollars coming off of a lot of programs that he gets for $500 million. So let's not get too excited about that next year. And we're not gonna have an annual meeting, right? We're gonna have a Zoom meeting.
It's online. So there will be an annual meeting, but it will be virtual.
Anybody else got anything on that, cost share? Any questions on that? Anybody wanna know what's happening? If not, we'll go to a nature report, which, I don't know if Gary's on there or not. I didn't see his name on it. He's probably, it's Christmas time.
I thought you were coming, but apparently not.
If we don't have any agent reports, we'll go to our LWCD staff report. Who wants to go first? Mike, I think we pretty much. You want to start something off with us?
Mr. Chairman, could I interrupt for a moment? Do you hear me? Please tell Charlie Ortman to turn his hairdryer off.
Are you in your hunting?
Yeah, that's not me. I was listening to that too. My mic has been muted.
Okay.
I still hear it though. I know what you're talking about.
Well, as you can see, we did have one carryover from last year into 2020. That one was paid, I think back in February, probably March. And then, again, we have one carryover into 2021. We don't like to carry them over, but, our track record has been perfect. We have not sent a nickel back to debt cap in the 20 years that I've been here so far, so. I have no doubt this one isn't gonna be the exception to that rule either. It's gonna be spent. It was a big project. Part of the, I don't know if I wanna call it problem, but issue is our system is quite a bit different than NRCS, being that, if you put in a water line, okay, they can pay for that water line. Where ours is a system, you have to have the water line in, you have to have the drinker pad in, you gotta have the heavy use pad around the drinker pad, and the drinker itself has to be in, to call it a completed component. So, that project, he's got the water in, he's got the concrete in, he's got the base in, but he didn't get the water line attached yet, so technically he wasn't done with all the watering, so we couldn't pay him. But like I said, I think it's 2/3 of that is done, and then he had some fencing that just couldn't get at this year, so that one will be done, I'm sure, first part of next year, and we'll try again not to carry anything over, but there's never any guarantees. Anybody got any questions?
Any questions for Mike? Comments? If not, go ahead, Scott.
Alrighty, so all of you should have our, the AIS report in front of you. Yeah, all in all, it was another really good 2020 field season. You can see all the projects that were worked on, anything from Clean Lakes New Waters and Citizen Lake Monitoring Network and Project River Agents, early detectors, Purple Moose Creek Biocontrol. List all of our AIS monitoring efforts, both on Lake Superior and then also on our inland lakes as well.
Can you guys on the computer hear Scott okay, or should he move to the microphone?
I can hear him. This is Charlie.
Okay, thank you.
This is Jerry. I can hear him well.
Okay, excellent.
It's Doreen. I can hear him too.
Okay, fantastic. So yeah, we have our all of those things as well as our our AIS monitoring efforts, both for Lake Superior as well as our inland lake monitoring as well. And then on the back side of the report, it lists all of the different AIS educational outreach, both events and programs and coordination that we do in Ashland County. So yeah, as always, definitely let me know if you have any questions about any of those projects or activities. And then one other thing I just wanted to point out on page 1 of my report there, Mary Jo and myself submitted a Clean Lakes, Clean Waters grant application. That was to the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. That grant application was for $4,000, which is the highest amount that we can get per grant. So we requested the very full amount there. And if we get funded with that, that would be enough money to fund our Clean Lakes, Clean Waters program in 2021. So that would be very similar to what we've done in previous years. Again, that would be hiring at least one AIS intern to help out conduct those watercraft inspections down at boat landings on Lake Superior. So specifically at Second Landing in Ashland there, and then also at the Fair Park boat landing as well. So we will definitely keep you posted on that, and then if we are so fortunate to get that grant, obviously we'll get you guys' approval on that once we hear back from DNR. So, and with that, I would be happy to answer any questions if you have anything.
Questions, comments for Scott? Well, if you have any questions, you can always stop at the office. He's there a couple of days a week, so. If you can't find him, in another month, he'll be out on the lake fishing, looking for, invasive species out there in the middle of the lake.
Look at a tree stand, yeah.
I wonder what kind of bait you use for that. All right, we got, Dave, you got anything else you need to tell us?
Well, I'll just give my usual staff report. Since the last meeting in September, I've done all the field appraisals for the corn in Iron, Ashland, and Bayfield County. Did not have any requests in Douglas County we did have 2 participants over there, but no requests for appraisals. So I finished them up about the middle of October. And also the deer donation program is going. Just finished regular rifle season now. We had 2 deer donated at Pierce's, and they had 7 in Hirsch's processing in Poplar. So that's down a little bit from last year. Hirsch had a real good turnout, but Ashland, Pierce's had 7 or 8 donated, which was better than the previous year, but so far they've only gotten 2. So we're hoping for a little bit more there by the end of bow season and what do you call it? Black powder? Muzzle loader season going on right now. Other than that, did all the quarterly reimbursement requests for all the counties for the 3rd quarter already, and they're in the process of the state reimbursing each county right now. So they should be starting to get their checks if they haven't already got them. And let's see, other than that, that's about it.
What do we charge an acre for the no-till?
$8.50 an acre.
For Ashland County, how about the county?
And Iron, Ashland, and, no, all 4 counties.
Same bit, okay.
Yeah, but the use rate is different. There's $50 use fee for Ashland and Iron County, and $75 for Bayfield, Douglas, Price, wherever else being used. And that's because Ashland and Iron County had money invested in the initial purchase of the
We
machine.
seem to be getting more people using it, right?
What's that?
We got more people using the.
This year we had like, I think 10 or 12. We had a good year this year. In fact, we done better this year than the previous best year, I believe this
The report shows that.
Yeah, we did probably the most this year.
Any questions, comments for Dave? Anything else?
No, I can't think of anything.
I would expect that you'd have got a buck, I mean, when you're out there and, you know, checking everything out.
I could have shot does. I did have a doe tag.
Why would you do that?
Just to give to the food pantry, but I didn't want the work involved in it.
Any comments, questions for Dave? If not, go ahead, Mary Jo.
Okay, so I'm going to give my report, and I do want to apologize. Typically, I want to apologize that you on the Zooms there do not have a copy of our staff reports in front of you. Typically, what we've always done in the past is I send out the meeting packet with basically the meeting information, the homework. And in the meantime, the staff prepare our reports just prior to the meeting. So we've always distributed the reports at the meeting. And I can very clearly see this time around that we are going to have to make some adjustments there in the future so that you guys can have that written copy in front of you. But I will mail them out today, and then you can have the opportunity to read through those. And if you have any questions, by all means, feel free to contact us at the office. So as far as my report goes, some of the bigger education things that I've been working on recently, there is a statewide group that has formed to try to get land and water conservation departments to consider climate change in their land and water resource management plans. So as you're aware, we are the first county that included that in our update last year in 2019 that went to the state for approval. And I had recommended to the State Land and Water Board to encourage other counties to do that. And they took a great attention to that detail, and they have charged the State Land and Water Association now with having counties include information on climate change. And there is no set requirements on that, so it's going to be up to each county individually to determine what that means. But there has been a work group formed with 5 different county conservationists across the state to discuss this idea and offer recommendations. Another thing that we're working on right now is our annual tree and shrub sale. So we typically sell between 11 and 12,000 trees and shrubs. These are all native trees and shrubs to our county. They help promote conservation value, and they raise money to offer conservation youth programs. You don't have to live in Ashland County to buy trees from this sale. And so in October, we sent out 400 order forms. As of today, we've received over 60 orders, and the sale goes through March, and we typically have about 160 orders. And then new last year, we started allowing people to make donations for our youth programs. And we've generated around $400 in that. And then so far this year, we're already halfway there. We've received $198 in donations. So that's our tree and shrub program. If you have not ordered in the past, I would recommend placing an order or at least checking out that order form. One of the other very big projects that we're working on right now is Act 157. So this is the flood demonstration projects. It's the $150,000 that we received from the state legislature. And right now we are looking at 2 different areas in the Marengo River. One project site is at Berwiger Road, and the other site is at Jack Cruzan's property by Coria. And these are going to serve as 2 demonstration areas to increase flood storage capacity on the landscape. Both of these sites have incised stream channels. There is some wetland degradation, and floodplains have been disconnected from the stream channels. So we are going to be working on designing those projects to improve water capacity and improve the function of those hydrologic streams. In addition, I have submitted a grant for Great Lakes Restoration Initiative for an additional $460,000 to try to maximize that legislative money. So $150,000 really is not much money to implement projects on the land. That money gets used up very quickly. And we have a large wetland on Marengo River Road where the berm washed out in the flood of 2016. That's also part of the watershed of the Berwiger Road sites. And if we're able to get the $460,000, we will also be able to restore that wetland and do some other projects in that stream stretch, which would greatly improve how the water moves off the landscape and is stored on the landscape in that part of the Marengo. So I've had 3 different online meetings and a couple of different video presentations with the Army Corps of Engineers and EPA. These discussions have been going on for a couple months. It looks very promising, but we haven't gotten the final approval yet. So I'm hoping to hear within a couple weeks. That would add an additional $460,000 into our budget for next year, which was not part of our budget proposal this fall. That would be additional money. Some of that would come to our department for engineering, and a majority of it would be spent on the landscape, on the ground projects. And then it would also fund our water quality monitoring program that we decided against at our meeting in September to be funded by Global Minerals. So that is wrapped into this proposal. I continue to participate in attending meetings on the wastewater treatment overflow issues in the city of Ashland. I've done quite a bit of work this fall on nutrient management and the farmland preservation, including 4 or 5 different farm visits. I've had approximately 25 online meetings or webinar trainings since October 1st. And I do have all of those listed on the back of my report. And then the last thing I'm just going to mention is under education and outreach, our department did adopt a highway this year. So we adopted a 2-mile stretch of Sanborn, and it's from the intersection of 6th Street, so just south of our office. We adopted the 6th Street and Sanborn intersection 2 miles south to Weister Road. And so we are required to, a couple of times a year, pick up trash and monitor that section of highway, and we were able to do that in October. And I did notice recently that our signs are posted on Sanborn Avenue there. And so it reads, Adopt a Highway, Ashland County Land and Water Conservation Department. Okay, that's what I'm gonna give you for my update today. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions of any of our staff?
Yes, I do. I have a question. Concerning the wastewater overflow in the city of Ashland, I'm under the understanding that they got some kind of a new technique of repairing it at a cheaper rate. Does anybody have any information that they can share with us on that, concerning that? I saw it in the paper, an article on it, how the type of procedure they were using to fix the pipes without ripping them up. I was just concerned about that, how that was going or what's going on that, if anybody here would know anything about it. Probably Charlie knows.
I can offer a little bit. It's like they go in, I would say like a root canal maybe, but they spray something, I believe, and so they replace the lining inside the pipe without removing the pipe, and it fixes the leaks from the inside. And I guess they've been having a lot of luck with it in other places. And so the folks here, Chance Green is our new water guy, and he was researching that. And so it's not really experimental anymore. And apparently it's the cheapest way to go, and it's been holding up well where they've done it. And outside of that, if you want to learn more, you can call John Butler, our Public Works Director, or Chance Green, and they'll tell you all about it, because that's been all that's on their mind for the last year or two or three, because you know how they're getting hammered every time a rainstorm happens. And anything spills over the pond walls out at their holding tank, they get declared like they're dumping raw sewage in the lake, which they aren't. But so anyway, they've done a lot of smoke work and things like that to find out where these things are leaking, and so their number one bet is this new technology to reline the pipes from the inside, where they can get away with it.
Thanks. It appears to be a good part of the solution then.
Oh yeah, it's a great potential for here, and like I said, it's not it's been done other places, and they're pretty happy with it. So it's not even really an experimental thing anymore. It's just where the first places we're going to try to use it. And so the city of Ashland is as anyone would suspect, they're identifying all their issues, all the places that have trouble, and as they do that, then they're prioritizing what would give us the best return, as in, if we fix this one, what places that we fix will stop the most amount of water soonest. And there's a section over by Walmart that's in pretty bad shape where they need to start first. They also have a company from Finland that's been testing the water somehow to find out where the leaks are coming from. Apparently water leaves a fingerprint that you can, if you test the water at a certain point, just by the things you find in it, you can figure out the most likely places where it's leaking in. And that's an interesting conversation, but John or Chance would have to fill you in on the details of that. So they've got some good things going, and we're all very hopeful, and the Source Water Protection Committee has been meeting, and there's a plan that's in place, and that I think that newspaper article you read was a result of that committee trying to publicize these things that they've been finding, because we want the folks to know, you got to fix this stuff, it's going to cost money. And people complain, but you might have to pay a little more in property taxes at some point to implement solutions, because nothing's free. So I think that's one of the first articles that we're trying to get out there to educate people on, what it is and what it might cost. And of course, that pipelining is one of the cheapest solutions. That's all I have. Thanks, Jerry, for the question.
Thank you.
So Jerry, in addition to that, one of the largest challenges that they've had is that many of the pipes throughout the city are antiquated. They're more than 100 years old. And so they have these cracks. And when we get rainfall events, it allows water precipitation that's seeping through the ground to actually enter those pipes. And the sewage system was basically designed to handle the water in the sewage. And now we have lots of excess water that's seeping in, infiltrating and being tied in through inflow pipes. And these could be inflow that's coming from, sump pumps, manholes, other sources that are flowing into that sewage. So it's increasing the amount of overall water that was never designed for that system to hold. So that's why the city right now is trying to repair the inner linings of these pipes to reduce the overall amount of water that's able to seep or infiltrate in. And there's been a number of different types of education things that have gone out. There's been pamphlets that have been sent out in water bills to try to help educate landowners about even reducing the amount of water that they're using, especially during storm events. If you can hold off on doing laundry, or if you can hold off on watering the lawn, if there's anything you can do to reduce the amount of water that you're putting into the system during large storm events, all of that type of education has been going out as well.
Yeah, Jerry, if you think of it as like a house that isn't properly insulated, when the wind blows, you feel that wind coming in from every crack. But you spray foam the place and you don't get that outside wind coming in and affecting your heating bill. It's the same with the water. During normal times, those cracks in the pipes don't matter. But when the ground is saturated, now your sewer pipes are taking in water through all those cracks everywhere in town. And a 100-year-old set of pipes has got cracks all over. So the equivalent of leaving dumping a couple swimming pools in every hour or so in like the 2016 flood and all that stuff. Yeah, every crack is taking in water that isn't from the sewers at all. It's just from your lawn.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? If not, any other business? Mary Jo, you got any other business?
No other business. I just want to say thank you to those of you online for learning how to use Zoom for your first time. I'm happy to be able to see your faces. That's awesome. So congrats on that. Hopefully we don't have to keep doing this for too long, but now you know how to.
All right, the only other thing on there is next meeting date. Do you want to meet in January or wait till February?
Thanks to Mary Jo too. She did a good job on all of it to help us through it.
You're welcome. We do have our poster and speaking competition. That would be probably pretty hard to try and vote on posters through online like this. I don't think we need to be in January. We're definitely not going to have business or action in January.
We gonna judge them online, or are we gonna actually bring ours in to the office?
Scott, what have you heard from the teachers? Are they going to send pictures?
Yeah, so a lot of them I will, probably go to the schools and just pick them up myself. Some of them, it sounds like they probably will drop them off physically at the office. So we actually we'll have a physical poster instead of just having a picture. But some of them I imagine probably will submit just the actual photo. So sounds like we'll have kind of a mixed bag of both.
We haven't figured that out yet.
So when's the district meeting?
The competition is January 11th, I think.
13th, I believe.
January 13th.
February?
January
3rd. It means, if we're gonna judge them, do we need to have a meeting before
No.
that?
We don't have to have a meeting. You guys could just come in and judge if you want to, but we don't have to have a meeting for it. I would just say our next meeting date could be determined.
Yeah, we don't have to set it today.
Yeah, okay.
You know, by, February 1st, there could be enough vaccines out there. Everything could change in the next 2 months. You just don't know.
Yeah.
It's not changing for the good yet.
We'll be hopeful.
All right, if we're gonna, Mary Jo and I will set a meeting date when we need one. Nothing else, meeting adjourned.
Take
Enjoy
care.
the.
It's good to see you all.
Thanks, Charlie.